Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I am your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew this side of Starfleet Command. We have Vice Admiral Eric, who's hoping that somehow, some way, in his doll cosplay and all, that Bluey will somehow cross over into Prodigy.
Yes.
In season 2.
100%.
Commander Hawk is also here, and who says Jean-Luc can't have a run-in with the kids next season? Anything could happen, right? It's Prodigy, it's animation, right, Hawk? Right?
Except that kids don't belong on the bridge.
A very good point. Yeah, I don't think he'd be too kind to the kids. And finally, Captain Giraffe is here, and who are we kidding, right? More Romulans. She just wants more Romulans. Maybe Empress Sela. No?
Such a tease to
I
go
know.
all the way to the neutral zone to just leave like this.
Maybe more Romulans. And hey, we're talking to two people tonight who probably can't give us any of those answers. None of them. In all seriousness, though, we are so excited to welcome onto our view screen tonight two very, very special guests, the creators, showrunners, I believe EVPs as well, or executive producers, all of those fancy title.
Captain Ding Dongs.
Captain Ding Dongs of Star Trek Prodigy, Dan and Kevin, the Hageman Brothers. Welcome to the show. It is such an honor to have you guys.
It's awesome to be here, guys.
Happy to be here.
Well, I especially appreciate you guys taking the time, especially after the holidays, crazy sicknesses and stuff going around. It seems to never end, so it is much appreciated. I think we have a lot to get to tonight, so we're going to just get right into the questions, if that works for you. Just want to say congrats, first and foremost, on just like an amazing first season of this show. I think a lot of fans on Twitter, a lot of people in our Discord collective are calling this one of, if not the best first seasons of Star Trek. Since the show's supposed to be geared, right, like more towards kids, like my kids watch it with me every week. Did you guys and the rest of the Prodigy team expect the amount of love and praise Prodigy has received from longtime Trek fans, as obviously as well as our kids?
I don't think so.
We were aiming for half of it. We were aiming for not to be a disgrace to Star Trek.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, no, we're so happily surprised. I mean, everyone, all the writers and all the people working on it, we fell in love with this show and fell in love with these characters and knew where they were going. And this finale, I've seen this final episode, I don't know, over 100 times in different iterations, right? And I sob like just a child at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, so many people also saying this is like a perfect finale. So, well done. This episode made me cry as well.
For sure.
It was baked in from the very get-go, the very first pitch.
Yeah, when we first pitched it, we knew the end. And I think that's, sometimes some TV shows, they're jumping into production quickly and they're scrambling and they're trying to, right? With our show, we were fortunate enough. We got it set up in time. We had enough time with our writers to really get, that grand story in place, and so, and it shows.
Yeah. And like the finale, again, amazing. And you guys both wrote it, which is awesome. And the finale, like the two-parter, took a lot of risks. There were a lot of risks that, you don't really expect in a children's show. They're very adult. There is a big space battle, a giant, phenomenally animated one in the last episode. And then we got a couple of sacrifices. We got the Diviner. We got hologram Janeway, who's like this mother to these kids for such a long time, and sort of a mother to all the kids watching too. So how did you keep the balance between the tone of being kid friendly, but also giving these two episodes that big finale feel, that adult feel?
Well, let you answer that, Dan. But I just want to first give a credit to, even though my brother and I's names are on it, credit goes to our entire writers' room. I mean, we are a collective team on every episode. We all work together, and my brother and I could not have written that episode on our own. So, Dan, do you want to?
I was going to say, in terms of kids' entertainment, you look at what is kids' entertainment today. I feel like there's a lot of kids watching Marvel.
True.
Watching Endgame. These are things that aren't that different. We figure as long as we don't have gore and we don't have bad language, I feel like we're fine. And it helps not having guns. It helps having phasers.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I think my brother and I, like, we've spent many years doing family entertainment, and we do that because we love that. We grew up on all the Spielberg, Chris Columbus stuff, the ambulance sort of entertainment. And so that's what we wanted to bring to Star Trek, and for us, whenever we tell stories, we always start with the heart, and then we want to make sure that there's the brain and some humor too, so it's going to be a little bit smart and very emotionally driven, funny, exciting. Those are my favorite movies growing up, when you get that right recipe.
I'll move on to my question. With the destruction of the protostar in the finale, you've done.
Sad.
I know. But you've diverged from the usual trope of making the ship emblematic of the series. And it reminded me of the decision by the writers in Breaking Bad when they destroyed the RV. In doing so, it freed up that series in a lot of ways and led to this some of the most exciting television ever produced. Was your decision to do the same a way of creatively unshackling yourselves for the upcoming season?
I think it's just we saw it through character. You look at like what for these kids, this ship represented salvation. And, they felt like they needed it, just like they felt like they needed Hologram Janeway. And Hologram Janeway said from day one, my job is to only guide you. You have to do the work to do it. And that's the reason why, in the end, they had to be the ones who got to Starfleet. It couldn't be Janeway plugging in the GPS and say, just follow this and they'll take you there. Because it's like, then they don't earn it. So the destruction of the ship felt like, from a writing term, you take what your protagonist most wants or most thinks they need, and you destroy it, and then you see who they really are.
It's funny that you. Oh, sorry. It's just funny that you mentioned like Janeway not being the one to have to plug in the coordinates, right? That they kind of had to find their way there. I know this is a very different show, and it's a series finale instead of a season finale in Battlestar Galactica. But it's almost like Kara at the end of that series. Spoilers, by the way, if you've never seen Battlestar Galactica, you should. I'm going to ruin the series for you right now. When she punches in the coordinates, and she doesn't know if they're going to lead to the right place or not. It's a leap of faith, and however the kids get there, and it's obviously not shown on the screen. It's the same thing. It's that kind of leap of faith that finally gets them there. I think that's a very interesting take. And then the battles, obviously Galactica flies into the sun later, so destruction there as well.
Oh,
thank you. I always love, Dan and I have been watching White Lotus lately, which is just a phenomenal show and so well written. So well written by Mike White. And, there's so much in the final episodes of this last season that are very left open ended. And it's hard to, what happened, what really happened, what wasn't shown. And I think some of that is fantastic storytelling. It gets people talking. It gets you using your own imagination. It allows you to fill in the blank. Like my wife and I were filling in the blanks of what happened when there was
family show. Family show. But yeah, I'll stop.
We have a great comment. I think it also sums it up pretty well from one of our collective members at MC. I thought blowing up the ship was very much a quote unquote kids moving out of the house to go to college type of move.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Very coming of age. It's a coming of age story.
That's like there's a gland inside every parent where it's when your child goes off to college, or even the thought of your child growing up, it just brings tears to your eyes.
Yep.
And so this whole episode was plunging a needle into that thing, extracting all that juice, and putting it into this episode. So that's why every time we watch this episode as a parent, I tear up.
That goodbye message from Hologram Janeway kills me every time I see it. I'm just like, yeah.
The part that killed me was Janeway, Hologram Janeway, and turning around after loading up, the isolinear chip and putting on the,
and her voice cracks.
Her voice was cracking up like crazy.
Got it right here.
Yes.
Yeah. Getting goosebumps all over again.
To give a shout out to Kate, and what an amazing, I just remember recording her. And yeah, she would just give this nuanced performance, and you just see it. You could just hear her voice trembling at times Or when the kids are about to walk out of the bridge thinking they're going to see her on the other side, she's like, oh, wait, and she wants to have a final word to, in essence, say, I love you before they leave. And she can't tell them the truth. I mean, you just hear such beautiful texture and this depth and a added layer to her lines. And
her show would never be as good if Kate didn't buy all the way in. And she totally did. I mean, because every time early on, when we didn't have any visuals, you're sitting here pitching something and they go, okay, Star Trek for Nickelodeon. And there's just this automatic judgment of what it could be. And, you have to get people like Nami, Ben, Ebon, you get these people to buy in and go, this could be great. Let's just go all in. Let's make a movie on TV, in Star Trek, in the world of Star Trek. And so little by little.
Yeah, our budget, we have a tiny TV budget, but screw it. We're going to make this work. We're going to make it feel like a movie.
It doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel that way. I mean, from the music, we've become very close with Nami. She's brilliant. Her work. I mean, you talk about Ben directing this episode and others. Kate Mulgrew deserves an Emmy for this season. Yeah. I mean, just wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Speaking of separation and goodbyes, we spoke about the hologram Janeway saying goodbye, but there's another goodbye in the series that's Gwyn leaving back to Solum. And I am very excited about Solum because I love the design of the Vauna cat and the dresses and the intricate patterns and all this. But, that's the cosplayer in me. What does it tell us for the second season? If you can tell us anything, are we going to have two separate stories? Are we going to lose track of what Gwyn is doing? Are we going to follow the original crew? Is there anything you can tell us about how that's going to play?
I just think season 2 is very organic. I think it didn't take us long it wasn't like we go, okay, what are we going to do for season 2? It's like the stories naturally progressed to these beautiful places. We're like, oh, that's interesting. Gwyn's got to go to Solum. And also you have the Chakotay of it all. And both of those exist on Solum.
Yeah, exactly. At 2 different time periods, things are happening on Solum. But with Chakotay, we know that in season 1, we kept teasing people with Chakotay and stuff, but, we knew that we couldn't give too much focus. We couldn't give it, Janeway and Chakotay could not be our B story or our A story. This was a show about these kids and this new crew. And so Chakotay was always sort of like the C story. Well, now in season 2, I think we can step it up more and we're going to dive much deeper and we're going to deliver the goods. We're not going to just continue teasing people. And so for me, like season 2, like you guys are saying, this is a coming of age story. It's the twilight of childhood. It's that last great adventure before becoming adults. Goonies is a massive influence for us in our storytelling. And so season 2 is going to feel like the next chapter, right? They are growing up. They're getting closer to becoming a real crew. But at the same time, there's so much in season 1 that we have left open that we got to answer. We're not going to just leave it hanging. And Gwyn is too beautiful of a character to just let her walk off into the sunset with this unresolved story. No, we have to follow her too. So.
Yeah. Awesome. For sure. And it's going off of the Gwen still, Dal and Gwen are talking about how she's leaving off to Solum and how they might encounter the diviner, her father, who's still alive at this point and, younger. So that begs to, ask the question, does that mean Gwen will come face to face with her dad? Or maybe even someone that's her own age? Like that's
I mean, we love Back to the Future. So
nice.
I know, and we can't answer anything there. But know that yes, those logic points. We were big discussion in the writers' room. We're not. We know. Yeah. We're not a bunch of idiots. We're not, there's some really good stuff.
We're not going to ignore the low hanging fruit.
No, or
that's a very fair way to put it. Yeah.
Or there's gold in those hills, right? Yeah. We're going to be aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Let's talk about the end of this episode, right? Because their whole journey was to get to San Francisco and get to Starfleet Academy, and grasp for this big idea that anybody can be part of the Federation. Anybody could be in Starfleet Academy.
Not anybody. I think
well,
it's very clear.
Not anybody, not augments, right? Okay.
You can dream of it.
You could dream. That's a better way of putting it. You could dream of being in Starfleet. Obviously, they have some archaic laws when it comes to augments and Dal.
No, but just it's the best. It's like this is West Point.
Yes, yeah, and Wesley doesn't get in on his first try.
I don't know if Eric would get in.
I don't think Eric would get in either. I think he's got to have a few more spots.
I know. I didn't go into the hair. It just didn't work out.
But they
just so it's known though, Kevin and I love the Dal cosplay. So
thank you.
I think they
I love it.
We had one of the actors from Discovery on a few months ago, or maybe over a year now. I don't know. I went full green because he played an Orion, and that was really, it looked horrible. It looked really bad.
It looked good.
Eric put effort into it. I didn't.
I felt like if we never mentioned it, it would have been even super awkward. It's like I did all this.
So obviously they don't get into Starfleet Academy because Janeway brings up a good point, right? Like there are people already waiting. It is a process, and it is a grueling process to get in there, as we've seen in the show. But they do become warrant officers under Admiral Janeway's command. I guess, how do you guys think that dynamic will change, right? Because they're going from a hologram who does, I think by the end of the series, is very sentient and has become into her own, like the Doctor did in Voyager. But now they're dealing with real flesh and blood Admiral Janeway. I mean, how do you think that dynamic is playing? Why can it not be any other ship but Voyager that they go off on this adventure with? That part's a joke. I know you can't tell us, but
we can't.
No, but the Janeway, it's like you remember your teacher in first grade. You're like, she's so nice. And then you remember your teacher in fifth grade or sixth grade. Like he's tough. They get tougher the older you grow. Because those are the lessons you're going to start needing. And I think that's why, like in the original pitch, we knew, as much as it hurt to lose hologram Janeway, we felt like she taught them a lot. She got them to Starfleet, so to speak. And now it's time for another mentor to push them even harder. And I think that's something that Admiral Janeway can do, because she's not going to deal, Dal shenanigans aren't going to last long for Admiral Janeway. So.
It's true. Yeah.
So I wanted to thank you guys. First off, because this is the Star Trek show that my daughter it's her first Star Trek show that she's really gotten into. So she's 8 years old, and my 4-year-old also really likes it too. So my 1-year-old doesn't really understand it, but the older ones, they're biracial. So I'm Filipino. My wife is Dutch German, and so a lot of Dal's journey, him trying to find his cultural significance, like him trying to find a place in the world, really resonates for me, because I see my kids pulled between these two worlds, like their Filipino culture and then their Dutch German culture. And there are times when it breaks my heart, but there are times when I see that they don't know where they fit, or if they fit in either of them, because they're both there. So I'm trying not to cry, because it meant so much, the ending for me, because seeing Janeway stand up for Dal at the end was beautiful, because it makes me think that people will be there for my kids, that they're there, that they know that there's always a spot for them somewhere out there. So I want to ask you guys, how important was it for you to have Janeway be there for him and be this rock? Like it's the actual Janeway, not the hologram mother that he had known all this time. Oh my God, my makeup's burning.
Oh my God.
The makeup is gonna run.
Purple tears, purple rain.
That's the strength and the beauty of Janeway, is that she can give hard lessons. She can get on you when you make a mistake, but she can also be your greatest supporter. And I think it also, in terms of Dal, Dal is such a beautiful character, where I love that, like, I like this message that, he's always looking outwards for the answers of who am I, what am I, but I think everyone's going to find the answers inside. Like, it's the strength inside that you're going to find in yourself. When you're young, it's growing up. It takes time. It takes resolve. It takes, And it takes allies, like people, I wish we all have Janeways in our life that can do that for us. And that's where parents come in. Parents can be the Janeways to the children.
Yeah, we try.
Yeah, and we knew we needed her to stand up for him. With the rules of augments and everything with Starfleet, we knew it couldn't be easy allowing him in. And how are we going to explain this? How are we going to justify why they're going to make an exception for him? And a lot of credit overall goes to David Mack, our Star Trek advisor. I think originally in our original pitch, Dan, we had them become, Starfleet cadets. And he's like, whoa. He's like, it's not that. What about all the people who are in line who have got the
there's
grades?
Essays. We actually did a line.
In.
We took there's essays, there's interviews, there's all this stuff.
Yeah, two of those admirals looked less than excited, and the Andorian admiral in the center was smiling the whole time, yeah, I want these kids in.
But I think it's like when we get feedback like that, it helps it. It helps the reality. I'm like, I love it. It makes it even harder for them to get in. And also, we didn't want them going into Starfleet Academy and going into classes. Like, that would be so boring.
Oh my
Have your own
God,
starship and then be like, good job. Now you're in fifth period, quantum physics.
That's the interesting, but without saying anything about season 2, that was the interesting conundrum looking at season 2, which is, these kids are now going into the adult world. They're not alone on their own stolen ship, right? So that's interesting. There's interesting problems there, but we don't want it to be boring. We don't want to take agency away from them where you're like, wow, in season 1, there's all this amazing adventure and they're making mistakes and doing all this great stuff. Oh, and now they're in the adult world.
Do you think, Kevin, it's spoiling anything if we give them that little, steal a ship thing that we'd always talk about?
No, I think it's okay to say that. Just keep it vague so they don't know.
Yeah, it's vague, but we always talk about in season 1, this is the story about kids who steal a ship, right? Season 2 is
that was, yeah.
They're going to earn a ship, Let's see them earn a ship.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
yeah.
Nice little nugget.
Okay.
I like it. I appreciate it.
That's an exclusive right there.
Much appreciated.
Also, I think it's cruel to say they stole the ship. They liberated that ship.
They liberated the Protostar.
It's true.
Yep.
Well, to end on what Eric was saying, I'm biracial, and I'm very I criticize Star Trek a lot on how very often biracial character or mixed characters are depicted, and I have to say that Prodigy was flawless on this. I'm so happy on how you talked about being different, not fitting. It's the first time I see a dialogue, a discourse on genetic difference, let's say, done so carefully, with sensibility, and with words that I can see myself in. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
I know, when you get the opportunity to do a Star Trek show, it's like, first off, Kevin and I were like, we're ding dongs. I don't know if we can do it. And then, but I think what was most fun about giving it a go is going, okay, if we are going to do this, having a very diverse room, having a diverse, it's really taking on the Federation ideals in making a show. And really, it's the strength of diversity. It's having, we knew we're two white dudes. It's like, it could have gone south.
And brothers who grew up in the same home with this, come on.
But it's we talked about season 1. It's all about communication. We said, we were coming up with a show at a time where America felt so divided. We're like, we just need to figure out how to get the conversation between people that are very, very different. And having that idea of this is a show about a bridge in which no one knew each other. No one spoke the same language, and they got to figure it out in order to fly, And I think that it was so fun to live those ideals behind the scenes, in the hiring practices, and Nickelodeon's been fantastic partners. And we were always pushing and striving for that. So I'm happy that it's resonating with you guys.
Before I let Hawk take it away, I'm just gonna read one more comment on the pod before we go here. Big hugs for Eric. As a black gay dude, this is from Kevin Richardson. As a black gay dude, finding a place to fit in as a kid was hard. What Eric and Giraffe are saying is amazing. And agreed. Big hugs for virtual hugs.
I see Aaron Walke's in the chat now.
Yeah, Aaron, yeah. Aaron's become a regular in our chat lately. He likes the discourse apparently. Hawk.
Oh, if we had no more questions, we as a pod would like to thank you both for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us tonight. We are huge fans of the show.
Huge, massive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To be honest, like part of me was trepidatious going into the show when I heard Star Trek and Nickelodeon in the same sentence, and
We were too.
like, yeah, it won me over like almost instantaneously. Anything you guys would like to plug that you have coming up? Where can people find you? And
well, we need a little break. I know everyone's asking season two, and I'm like, we just delivered one. Come on.
And the first 20 episode season of Trek since the 90s, so or early 2000s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I know they're shorter, but the animation it's not easy. It takes a long time to make it pretty for you guys.
But we could drop in another exclusive. Actually, no, you'll see more episodes in 2023.
2023.
Yeah.
There it is.
I don't know.
yeah.
when, but
And we apologize. Like, I know season 1, it was broken up. We had 5 and then a space and another 5. I mean, that was literally just because of
COVID.
due to COVID and the integrity of our show and how to produce a quality show like this. Virtually, it was insane, and us solving a lot of problems, and it slowed the pipeline down. And so I'm excited. We're making this. So the whole point is season 2, we're making sure we've got 10 episodes ready to go, lock and loaded. You're going to get 10, probably another little break, and then the back 10 again. So.
Well, no apologies necessary.
Yeah.
It's not like we weren't rich for Star Trek this year either. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah. I'll finish for Hawk there because I was already talking, so I might as well. Anywhere people could find you, and you already gave us an exclusive about season 2, so we won't bug you about it anymore. Yeah, where can people find you guys?
I think we're at Brothers Hageman on Twitter, and that's it.
Awesome.
We're together.
You're together. Yep. One mind, right? Or sometimes you have to fight over what to tweet.
Yes, sometimes.
Well, once again, Dan, Kevin, thank you so much. The show was amazing. It was gorgeous. It's everything we wanted. Thank you again for taking time. Dan and Kevin, the Hageman Brothers, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause.
Thank you,
applause.
Oh, please, quiet down.
We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to give our thoughts, our takes, our review, our breakdown of this incredible season 1 finale of Star Trek Prodigy. We'll be right back. Stick around.
back.
Hey, welcome back to the show, everybody. What an absolute pleasure it was to have Dan and Kevin, the Hageman Brothers. Those guys are awesome. An incredible first season of Star Trek Prodigy. We were saying off mic just now, just like goosebumps, like reliving some of the moments from the season with them. It's awesome. I'm like almost at a loss for words, but we have a lot to talk about. So we're going to get into it. Haven, I know that you wanted me to ask them if there's going to be remans, but I think that's better that we just keep asking the question. What about the remans? Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't.
Be surprised, to be honest.
I'd rather be surprised as well.
Exactly.
Could you imagine if the Reman showed up and you'd be like, okay, here it is.
I mean, you never know.
It's
you
true.
never know. It is our review and breakdown of the Star Trek Prodigy Season 1 finale, Supernova. I feel like I said that very New York. Supernova.
It's a supernova. Hey.
Supernova. I'm going to go get in the cab here. I grew up in Queens. I can kind of do it. Supernova Part 2. Our roundtable order tonight will go Hawk, Eric, Giraffe, followed by myself. Let's get right into it. Picks up right where Part 1 left off. Talking about destroying the protostar, the plan to destroy the protostar and to save Starfleet, as well as Janeway's sacrifice. As the fleet does continue to destroy itself, and Jorg, being the genius that he is, did notice that the Enterprise E was not doing too well at the end of that battle, but still in one piece. Tough, big ship. Defiant, nowhere to be seen, though. As the fleet does continue to destroy itself, Dahl comes to the realization that the only way to defeat the construct is to destroy the protostar by igniting the protocore. But like any good finale, like any good Star Trek episode, it happens in Star Wars, it happens in Star Trek, it happens in sci-fi. Someone needs to press the red button.
Eject the warp core.
It really should have been Shaxx, right? Like crossover of the century right there. Someone does need to stay behind, and Dahl immediately, as has been his arc this entire season, earns his captain of the ship moment when he says, I am the captain of the ship. It should be me. So good. But Janeway reminds him that she now has his command codes and is the one that needs to stay behind. Initial feelings when we knew we were about to lose the protostar. Hawk.
This one came out at me from left field, and that because like my entire theory was that they would take the ship and they abandon the dream of joining Starfleet and that, and basically just take the ship as far away from Starfleet as they could and have their own adventures. No, they destroy the ship, and as I said, it was a bold move, not because these ships become so emblematic of shows, and that it's like as I've said before, like these ships become like that the uncredited character.
I'll make the reference again. The Galactica was just as much a character in that show as the rest of the cast.
It's like the Razor's Crest from Mandalorian. When they blew that up, everyone was like, "What? Why?"
Yeah, exactly. It's a bold move, and it's like but this whole series was basically one big bold move, and that making a Star Trek show that appeals specifically to a children's audience, and that always had the potential to backfire, and yet here we are, praising it as probably one of the best seasons of Star Trek we've ever seen. And yeah, losing the protostar, it was sad, but at the same time, it made so much sense in that the living construct was so dangerous and so unbreakable that the only way really they could have done this was to destroy the ship
or send it to Mars.
No, Mars.
Giraffe doesn't respond to the
it's cool.
bait. Okay.
No. Eric.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's 1 a.m. I'm trying to keep myself together.
It's okay. It's okay. Man, when Janeway said that she would take the protostar and blow it up, it was like jaw-dropping. Like when I saw it, I was like, I can't talk to anyone about this. Why can't I talk to? Why hasn't no one watched this yet? And it was weeks before I could. But going through the eyes of my kid, they were like, no, that, it was their home, for this season, not just for the kids here, but the kids that have been watching the show. So the fact that they're losing this house, or that this house that they've lived in, and losing Janeway was it was devastating for my kids. And especially with the message that Janeway, leaves later. We'll talk about that in a bit. it was 100% what Hawk said. It was a bold move, and to do it in the first season, like I would assume like Hawk, yeah, they would have gone off again, like, you know, saved the day by going elsewhere, and then eventually they would have figured out a way to eject it to Mars, or, you know, just destroy it in some other way. But the fact that you did in the first season, like, man, and the fact that they haven't released a toy of it yet, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
More merch.
Right.
More merch.
But bold move, and it was an amazing move, because the sky's the limit now, right? Like Hawk said about Breaking Bad, like they're not confined to that ship and that plot device of them having that living construct. That the sky's the limit. That's awesome.
I mean, the moment I knew that we were not getting the Romulan supernova.
How disappointed are you? Your record is finally tarnished a little bit.
I mean, I'm broken. I'm dead inside. It's the only thing I wanted. Like, when are we gonna get it? Like, it's not Mars. It's not the Roman supernova. Like, I'm sad, but it's okay. You know, I'll live another day. Well, so I knew that they were gonna blow up the protostar, because the supernova is the death of a star, right? So it made sense to me. And, you know, it's like in The Mandalorian, like you said, like, it's a good way to move on to the next season. A little bit what I wanted Lower Decks to do, to blow up the Cerritos.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they said. It makes it forces the characters to move forward. And so I was not surprised, because I think, again, it's incredibly well written, and everything brings you to that conclusion. Like I've been saying for 4 episodes.
Yeah, you've been saying it for a while.
Janeway's gonna die. Janeway's gonna die. Well, I'm not like smart enough to have been like, oh, hello, Janeway. So when she was like, I have the common code, I was like, oh, it's gonna be a hello, Janeway. Evidently, she's the mother. Like, yeah, she has to go so they can, you know, continue. One of my friends always says that kids are, you don't make kids. You're bow, and they are the arrows that are landed to you by the universe, and you're just here to.
That's amazing.
Set them away.
That's a really good.
That's so good.
That just made me think of Avatar for some reason. It's like all energy is borrowed, and someday you have to give it back. That line from the Na'vi.
Is that from the new one or the old one?
It's from both of them. It's in both of them. Yeah.
None of them, so I don't know.
I know.
But my coworker says that very often. So to parents, and that you're not meant to keep them. You're meant to set them off. You know,
to shoot them off.
And that's shoot them off. The farthest, the strongest, the highest possible.
Shoot them off on the back of a protostar.
So yeah, no, I was not surprised. I thought it was perfect. It was exactly what was supposed to happen at the right moment, in the right way, and yeah, flawless.
Like sorry, I want to go off that. Nothing felt forced. Like so often you feel in finales, you're like, well, we have to close all this stuff, so we have to make sure this goes. This all felt natural, and it felt like everything was earned, and that's amazing.
And why is that, Eric?
Well,
besides good writing, but why else? We talk about this with Discovery. We've talked about it with Picard.
No filler episodes?
episode seasons that all mean something. They had the time to do it.
Yep.
And it's the same writers too. That's what that's the thing. It's one writer's room that builds everything together. And
I love that Dan and Kevin said that like, you know, even though they wrote this episode, it's a collective, right? Like they're a collective of writers that put this all together, and it shows.
And if you guys don't follow them on Twitter, they have their own Prodigy Writers Room Twitter, and they're phenomenal. Like everything they send out is amazing, and that's where they had that tweet about the them watching it in the movie theater, right?
Yes.
Oh, man.
So jealous. Joe over on YouTube goes, blow up the damn ship, Jean-Luc, was all I could think of. Great first contact reference.
I've been advocating for blowing up that ships in like
you have
episode 12.
You have. for me, this moment, even though it's Hollow Janeway who's going to make the sacrifice, like this is again comes back to what we were talking about last week with Dahl. This is such a big moment for him, and like you said, everything feels earned, and this was earned for him when he goes, "I'm the captain of this ship. It needs to. Yeah. I need to be the one to do it." I mean, I get goosebumps because like we've been waiting for this Dahl now 2 episodes straight. He is ready to make that sacrifice and be that captain, and it feels good. It feels right because Eric, you and I, we didn't like Dahl when this show started, and now it's like I couldn't imagine the show without him, and just watching his journey and his growth. I mean, I know it's the Protostar and Janeway that go, but I mean, if it was Dahl, I mean, wow, that also would have hit hard. I mean,
did you watch the whole show again? Have you done it yet? Because I want to know.
I plan to.
I want to know how we feel like watching his journey again now that we know where it is. Like we knew it was going to get there, but the way he got there and how far he gets in that journey, like there's still more to go, but like he's at a great spot. Like it's incredible.
That's actually the question I asked Brett Gray when I got to interview him, because Hawk woke me up at 6 a.m.
That's right. Oh man, it was actually me that woke you up. I had to wake you up because Hawk told me.
So okay, because he called me Beyonce 3 times, so I'm very happy. But everybody was asking him how it is to play a character that has such a growth and that people really disliked at the beginning, and will he continue to grow in the season 2? And he says yes, absolutely yes. So I'm like.
And Kevin on YouTube writes, when the Hageman said they knew the ending from the time they pitched the show, I was like, please show Disco and Picard how to do this. Yeah, to be fair, Disco more than not sticks the landing. They had a couple of rough patches, but for the most part, they've done a good job. I think hopefully season 3 of Picard, 3rd time's the charm. Let's talk more about this, right? Because the plan does come to pass. Jankum, who I also finally liked. In an episode. It took 20 episodes, but I really liked him in this episode, damn it. Jankum rigs the Protostar to blow. Janeway attempts to make a copy of herself, and probably like the Doctor, who I don't think could copy himself either. Her files were too big. Her system's too big, and there's just not enough time or space to copy it over. So she sends and teaches them a hard lesson about white lies and you know, half-truths. She sends them on their way in a shuttlecraft that basically amounts to a freaking lifeboat. With one last, every time I've watched this episode 4 or 5 times, I've gotten very emotional. With one last, go fast. Hollow Janeway sets one last course, destroying the Protostar and herself in just like this absolutely beautiful moment. The colors, the animation, everything. If this doesn't make you feel something, then find Star Trek, please. She's been a teacher. She's been a den mother. So much and more for these kids during these 20 episodes. Thoughts on her sacrifice, Hawk?
Again, came out of left field, and Giraffe and I are in the same boat. We didn't see it coming in that, and it was just so there. You know, it's like it's you know. One could say it was the easy choice in you know, killing off a holodeck program in that, but at the same time, it didn't make it any easier. I don't think. You're right. You know, her memory core, you know, her experiences and everything on that. It's like that we had identified that episode of Voyager concerning the Doctor and the overload of his memory core in that, right? Oh God, I had the name of it and I can't think of it now.
Come on,
it was the Voyager episode. The Doctor.
Oh, latent image, latent
image. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about it the other day. Yeah.
Yep. So we know that, like, even with with holo programs, the more they learn and that, the more, you know, the more space it takes up in that. Yeah. And yeah. Anyways, where was I going with this? Yeah, her sacrifice.
No one knows, Hawk.
It was the finest moment in the show, and that, and probably the purest character moment in that. You know, it's like, because, you know, even if it's hologram Janeway in that, you know, it's like she will make that call. So, and yeah, as we already talked about, and Kate Mulgrews' performance during it was just perfect.
Yeah, Eric.
I have so many thoughts on this because this is my second favorite part of the whole episode. The first part I cried about a couple minutes ago. Obviously, hologram Janeway would have taken the reins from Dal. Like, she's the mom, obviously, right? And thinking about her and her little speech as a little hologram and the faces of the kids, like going from confusion to shock to tears, is, man, it is like what we said earlier about kids leaving the nest, you know, them going off. And it does make me think about, you know, when my kids eventually have to leave the house, and it's heartbreaking, but also cool. You know what I mean? Like, not cool that they're leaving, but it's cool that they're going to be grown ups, and they're going to be learning about the world, and that I won't always be there. I'm not going to cry again, I swear.
Lies.
When they started talking about, when she started talking about how her program had grown too big, it makes me think about how we as parents aren't just here to teach our kids life lessons and stuff. It's not just us always imposing everything, right? It's sort of it is a symbiotic relationship. We are learning from them at the same time as they're learning from us, and it's parents have to realize that we're not just here to be like, do this all the time. Like, there's some flow, there's give and flow, and it's amazing. So seeing that Janeway sacrificed again, like, what wouldn't you do for your family? I say that every week.
What wouldn't you do for your family? I'll do it every time.
I think
Damn,
we
someone
have
doesn't stop
not
me.
done one episode without like anybody doing any like Wrath of Khan kind of
Into
like,
darkness, to be fair, Giraffe.
Into darkness. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Come on.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say you see, I'm tired when
It's true.
I mess up like this.
It's not
on
like
the
it's
calendar.
1:30,
No, it's not.
45 a.m. in France.
Great.
And to end this, like,
It's 2 a.m.
like, again, the animation in this show is mind-boggling. How good it is, like cinematic quality. The fact that they got to watch this in the movie theater, super jealous, because this sequence, gorgeous. I would have loved to see this, and I think this is the little picture that they showed online, right? The ship of them, like the warp.
It might have been,
Like,
yeah.
oh man, and
yeah.
I sat there and I was like, God, you guys make me so jealous. But yeah,
Yeah.
I can't process.
I love the fact too that the moment where the ship explodes or like whatever it does, the images we see after are the colors
Of the show.
the opening credits.
Yep, I said that.
opening
I said that to
credit.
Dan and Kevin.
They
Yeah.
go through, yeah.
Yep.
And that's such like a perfect,
It's
you know,
beautiful.
perfect
Yeah.
circle. Like since the beginning, that's where they are. Anyway, that's a conversation we were having when we were reviewing the episode Ghost in the Machine, the duality of mind and body, and how hologram. I was saying I don't think hologram Janeway can leave the ship because
Right.
she's the ghost in the machine. She's one with the protostar, and we had this whole conversation about duality of mind and body, and what are you if you don't have a body? What are you if you don't have a mind? And so on and so on and so on. And that she's the soul of the protostar. So, yeah.
And they blew up that soul.
Sorry.
Giraffe goes and they blew up the soul.
No, the soul decides to, you know,
Mhm.
Move on.
to
Yeah.
move on. Yeah. I don't remember what was the question.
It's just the thoughts on, her sacrifice and how she's been there for them this entire season. It's a big deal. I mean, you've already hit it on the head, but keep going.
Yeah. So yeah, since the Ghost in the Machine episode, which was like 4 episodes ago, I don't remember. I've been thinking about this.
Yeah.
About like, the sentience, and we see Zora in Discovery, and I think we have like kind of like this parallel. We have a lot of parallel with Discovery.
Yes.
Have you
Mhm.
seen that?
Mhm.
Like this episode made me think so much of Such Sweet Sorrow.
Yep.
And that's what we're talking about last week too, how like they just go into the future kind of. I mean, these goodbyes, I know I'm gonna lose somebody, but that's for the good of everybody. And we have like so many parallels with Discovery season 2 finale, which I love. It's one of my favorite episodes of Trek ever. Great. But yeah, beautiful. I don't know. I could speak for an hour about this. So
Matt on YouTube says, Julian, if we could, he lives in Philly, close to me. If only we could see this in the Franklin Institute IMAX. To which I say, I used to have a lot of contacts and connections in downtown Philadelphia, and I don't anymore. But maybe 10 years ago, I could have made that happen, but I don't think I could anymore. That would have been dope.
time travel.
Time travel. Yes. I'm just going to say it. Janeway's sacrifice is probably my top moment of Star Trek this year. And everybody knows how much I will go to bat for every single episode of Strange New Worlds and how amazing that was. I don't think that there's, even in Disco season 4, which is emotional, like Book's return and everything with Michael in that finale. I don't think any of those finales or moments hold a candle to her sacrifice, because it doesn't feel like Hollow Janeway. It feels like Janeway. The way she sits in the chair, the way she sets the course, the way she says go fast, the way she leaves a message for those kids. You can't tell me that you didn't feel like that was a flesh and blood person, because it might as freaking well be. I'm getting teary-eyed just saying it. I thought it was beautiful and earned, and what the show needed to do for these kids to move on in season 2. And Giraffe already said it, but I'll say again, the actual protostar explosion and the aftermath was probably also one of the most beautiful shots of Star Trek this year. And I think Matt also said it. How can the budget be small with animation of this quality?
I don't understand it.
Because people love
Pay
their
the
work.
animators more.
Pay the animators more is the answer.
The fact that they were saying that the budget, that it's going to be bigger next season, I can't visualize that in my brain, how it could be prettier than this season.
Well, remember how Clone Wars, the animation just kept getting better.
Yeah,
that's true.
Better and better and better.
But that's because they decided to be like, let's not make it so puppety.
Yeah. Dan Hageman still in the chat says Ben Hibben and his team did a lot of smoke and mirrors to make the budget look bigger than it is.
Incredible.
And absolutely incredible. Let's move on to San Francisco. Post the explosion, Admiral Janeway is her science officers, doing reports on when Hollow Janeway did destroy the protostar. It recreated the same type of interspatial flexure that sent Chakotay into the future, and the protostar 52 years into the future.
Yes,
that flexure is now picking up a distress call from the future, and I mean, Dan and Kevin said it. Season 2, very much. We're gonna find more about Chakotay. Looks a lot like season 2 is going to be, Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, Star Trek Prodigy season 2, The Search for Chakotay, on board Voyager.
I think it's more Star Trek to the future.
Star Trek to the future on board Voyager. I'm going to keep saying it and saying it. That's Shuttlecraft 74656A. Just saying it. Yeah. Thoughts on the search for Chakotay, Hawk?
This is going to be exciting for season 2. I'm still trying to get through the timey-wimey aspects of it and that, but basically they opened a rift to the point where Chakotay ship, took the protostar. So they're still going to be meeting the young Vonnegut in that, right? So
that's in this time.
In this time,
Divine, okay, yeah.
Well, that's if. So from what I gathered, Janeway wants to be on the team that goes through the flexure into the future.
Yeah.
So that's going to be like, post-nuclear winter solemn, and Chakotay's on that planet with maybe with the protostar that hasn't been sent back in time yet, theoretically. It's a lot of timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
Well, what's doing Gwyn? I thought Gwyn was the one going back.
Gwyn's going into current timeline solemn to tell her people about the wider universe and the Federation without the Federation coming in. Look at our ships.
So she's
join
not
our Federation.
Gonna meet her father.
She's
We
gonna
don't
meet
know how they age.
Maybe she's gonna meet the younger version,
like a teenage one, because he's old.
Oh, because he's not from the future. Oh my god.
Yeah. Time travel, baby.
I know.
Pre-Civil War, post-Civil War.
It could even be like an adolescent, like a 5-year-old version of her dad. Could you imagine meeting a child version of your parent?
I already have a headache.
Hurts my.
I already have a headache.
Oh, I know the mind
Okay,
reels
okay.
of the possibility.
Janeway has a
Got
great
it
line
now.
about time travel. Anyway, go ahead.
Sorry, Hawk.
Yeah, I think those are my thoughts. Like,
Yeah, right.
I'm excited. I'm glad we cleared that up. Yeah, Gwyn is staying in this present, not in traveling to Vanukat in the present. Okay.
Solid,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am so excited for this. I was so excited about this before this episode happened because part of me was thinking maybe the protostar warps and causes this time rift that is the time rift that Chakotay goes through. So I'm wondering if this explosion caused time rifts going back in time. So it also is the same rift that he goes through to go to the future. Like the grandfather paradox.
I think it's the same rift. I think it is the grandfather
that's
paradox.
so good.
I think they just don't know it yet.
I know that's what makes me so excited. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it because I love this type of paradox and I love time travel and like Doctor Who type stuff. And the fact that we're doing it in Star Trek, I hope we get time agents, because time travel is still technically forbidden, is it not?
No,
that's what I was thinking.
no. This is not during the time of the. I mean, technically, so if you want to get an even bigger headache,
Yep.
Technically, the temporal Cold War is going on, right?
Yeah,
because it's time travel, but Starfleet doesn't ban it, I think, until the 30th century.
Yeah, I can't remember
So-
when it was banned.
But then you also have like the 29th or 28th century, space time travel cops,
Yeah.
from the Federation who interact. See, I think they're going to get involved because
Yes.
Janeway's always messing with the timeline. I think they're going to be in season.
Enterprise
two as well.
J.
We were thinking
The Time Bureau.
thinking they were gonna get involved in Picard, and they never
They
showed
didn't,
up.
I know.
So
But
Yeah.
Prodigy actually delivers.
And nah, I'm not gonna say it anyway. Oh, Picard.
I know.
Oh,
Picard. We're so mean, but we
Well,
love
it deserves it. Come on.
It deserves it, but we also
Pile on.
we're there on baited, like we're just there waiting for it because we love Picard and all Star Trek. Other than that, like the fact that we're gonna have multiple timelines next season is gonna hurt my brain, but also make me so happy.
okay, but
But
will we?
But
Because what if?
Lizard
What if?
babies.
Exactly. What if we go through the rift and then the whole second season is in the future and Gwyn is older?
older. Oh, yes, that would be amazing.
Time
But
travel.
I think they said that there's gonna a part of her journey. Didn't the Hageman say that we're gonna see her journey going there and meeting her people? I guess
Flashbacks.
I mean, it could be
Flashbacks.
both too, right? Oh man, that's so cool.
I mean, I don't know how much in the future they go. Maybe it's too much, but we don't know how long they leave. They
No.
leave too. So
That's true.
Yeah,
See?
I'm
But I
sure
just want to see the
I'm done.
Velna cat.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good.
No, I said I
do
was
you
done.
do you have more thoughts on that, Jeff?
Yes. I was seeing that. I just really want to see more of the Velna cat. Plus
Yes.
the fact that we still have one. We still have Essentia just like
That's right.
She's
Sensia's
still
just
out
like
there, yeah, the
floating with Dreadnought out there.
So
yeah.
her
we don't know where
changing
she
her
is.
her changing her shape, is it just into that one shape? I wonder if she could morph into another one and just sort of sneak on to the Voyager. That's right, Voyager.
Voyager.
Voyager. I'm on board with this.
Thank you.
I was
Thank
like,
you. If there's going to be
the
a
whole
Julian was
episode-
right about anything, it's going to be Voyager.
through the whole episode, they were like, and I have a new ship. And I was like, Voyager. And
Any
they're
ship of your
like, "I need ship, I need
choosing.
ship." Voyager, say it, woman, say it.
Just
say
say
the word.
Imagine if the Voyager theme had started playing a little bit like right before the credits rolled, because like I have much bigger plans and went. Dun, dun,
I was
dun,
waiting
dun,
for
dun,
it. It didn't
dun.
happen. Oh man.
Well,
I was just like begging for the word. I was like, just say the word. Just say it. Just say boy. Just say boy. Boy. It's
Boy,
fine.
boy, Brad Boimler, boy.
I wonder
Oh.
who, because they said we're going to see more faces that we know. Who from Voyager? Are we going to see the Doctor?
Harry
We're gonna
Kim. Harry Kim
see.
is
We're gonna see
still,
him,
still
cadet.
Zen-
We're gonna see Cadet Harry Kim. He got demoted.
Damn it!
poor Harry.
No.
Oh my god.
Well, it would
any
be-
other thoughts
would-
on time travel. Go ahead.
One more thing.
He'd be like a lieutenant commander or a commander at this point.
So Admiral Janeway's going to have a ship, but there should be a captain on that ship too, right? Wouldn't there be an admiral on the captain?
Unless like they built it for her to
Okay,
be like
fair.
her flagship.
That's fair.
Captain Harry Kim.
Captain
Tuvok. Oh man, give us Dan Hageman just committed a Starfleet crime for this podcast.
Can we ban him from the chat?
He said a banned word. Tuvix. That's how you get banned. Oh my God, Tuvix.
Come on. Although we saw Tuvok in Lower Decks, and everybody's convinced we saw Tuvok somewhere in the back of the bridge at one point. Remember when everybody was losing their mind? Yes. So I'm like, Captain Tuvok, bring it in, Prodigy. Come on.
Haven, I will press the ban button so quick you delete that comment. Oh man.
Who else than Tuvok could be captain of Voyager? Come on.
Harry Kim. Absolutely. Harry Kim.
He died enough for that ship.
It's true. That is very true. Let's keep moving on. Tom Paris. Dahl and the team, they finally make it safe and sound to San Fran and immediately are put, because of course Starfleet loves their tribunals, immediately put in front of a tribunal.
Man.
Admiral Janeway makes a very impassioned speech about how charges should be dropped because those kids did not steal the protostar. Like we said, they liberated it. And all those kids, including Dahl, and make sure that that tribunal knows his name, Dahl RL, should be allowed to join Starfleet Academy. She does reveal later that charges were dropped, but they can't quite enter the academy yet because, you know, for good reasons, right? But they do become warrant officers, aka like enlisted crew members, under Janeway's command aboard Voyager. Thoughts on how the tribunal and them becoming warrant officers went down, Hawk?
I think it worked out really perfectly because it kind of put to rest some of our concerns about the process of it. You know, obviously, like, you know, kids jumping the line and that and just getting straight into Starfleet because they saved the day and that, you know. Well, I mean, you know, Kirk saved the day like, you know, tons of times and that. And I believe the last time he saved the universe and he got demoted for it. Admiral to captain.
That's right.
That's true.
But it was great seeing Janeway there and that as their advocate. You know, because, like, you know, to the tribunal, they were just kids who stole a ship, and that, you know, they were aliens who stole a ship. You know, even Dahl. Remember that over the shoulder shot where you see like two people whispering as they're looking at the ganglia?
Yeah. There's still prejudice in Starfleet.
There still is, and that they're just looked on as like aliens who stole one of a piece of our property, and that not the full story, and that they were prisoners who were keeping this, you know, this very dangerous weapon out of the hands of an even more dangerous enemy. You know, but again, Janeway was there, you know, as their advocate, and she did a fantastic job in that. Especially even the augment speech was great. You know,
wonderful.
Yeah, it's like he's an augment. Yes, augments are banned in the Federation. He's also comprised of genetics from 23 of the members of this Federations. You know, who could be a better example? And it was so good. But yeah, they're making them warrant officers instead of full-fledged Starfleet, you know, cadets. It's great. And as you said, story-wise, it makes so much more sense. You know, we don't want to see them in Starfleet. You know,
maybe
universe.
they'll learn a thing or two from Warrant Chief Petty Officer Miles Edward O'Brien.
The greatest man in the universe.
Is he coming?
Most important man in the history of the Federation.
He's the captain of the ship.
He's the captain of the Voyager, hey?
Yeah. Good, Huck?
I'm going good.
All right. What can I say that I didn't cry about earlier? Janeway, like, even when they were doing the science briefing earlier, and she immediately told her science officer they're heroes, not, you know, not criminals,
fugitives.
not fugitives.
Criminals.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's awesome. And the fact that she stood up for them from that point forward, like even more so in the tribunal, it was beautiful. And this is probably one of my favorite tribunal Star Trek speeches. I think it was beautifully written, beautifully acted. The only other one, like, I can't even think of another one. Maybe the trial with Kirk and from Star Trek 6. Like, I think that's a good trial.
Mhm.
Wait, was that a trial? Yeah, when,
No.
they put him to prison. I like that.
Yes, with Chang and Governor Worf.
I love
Yeah.
that. I thought that was phenomenal. But this,
Tell me, do your hands shake?
let's see, what else do we talk about here? Warrant officers. I love that. Like, kids learning on the go. Like, you should do that in university. If you're a kid,
On the job training,
high school, university, if it's a great way to learn. And I think that that's an amazing thing to do. Throw them into the deep end. They'll learn.
Yeah.
The chat is hopping right now about knockoff.
Walmart, that's my
Janeway.
fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
No, it's
amazing.
Aaron's fault.
I know, it
and
is
then
Aaron's
I jump
fault.
in the
It's
train,
totally
and
Aaron's
then
fault.
like everybody's like,
I missed the
going.
Walmart Janeway
Yeah.
comment earlier, so I'm confused. I'll jump to the chat later. Other than that, I like that they're going to be hands-on learning, and that's very STEM-like for a kids show. And this season already got my kids into science and astronomy. Like, we've gotten lots of models and lots of puzzles, all about space and science, and they've been reading more and just expanding them learning, like them exploring through learning. And this is a great show to show that doing is also a great way to learn. And I'm looking forward to see that next season.
I love the Tribunal thing, and you know that for me it's rare because I hate Tribunal
Yep.
episode on Star Trek. I find them incredibly dull, but
The speaking part is the best part of Star Trek.
That's right. No, it's the ships, Eric.
Oh yeah, the ships.
Great, thank you guys.
Welcome.
Spamming my DMs for a week. I was going to say something very smart and very deep. Oh yeah, so I really like the fact, as Eric was saying, the emphasis that Janeway has about say his name. You're not going to talk about them like this in front of me. And you know that's what I was saying earlier during the interview. The way Prodigy just nails these I don't know how to say that, but this moment where everybody in the room makes you clearly feel like you're other. Like the number of times that I'm like, people say like, oh, when I was a kid, it was like the little Indian girl. I'm like, I'm not Indian. But people would not know my name or assume that my name would be foreign or complicated, and just like, oh, the black girl, or the one with the curly hair. And I have a name, the number of times it happens even at work, that people are like, oh, the black woman, or like they don't want to say the black woman. So they're like, the woman, she wears like very like colorful
Star Trek
clothes,
costumes like all the time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, usually it's my African prince that people like remember.
So messed up.
Yeah.
So the fact that she's like, it has a name and you will not refer them like this. I wish that more people would do that, because I see it too when my husband like comes back from work and tells me like, oh my God, people like say like the most racist thing in front of me, and everybody just goes with the motion. Nobody says anything. And to have people like, when people say I'm an ally, that's what it is to be an ally. It's to be in the room. And when somebody says something messed up, I was gonna swear, no bibs, giraffe is on a roll.
Don't worry, I'll do that later.
2:20 a.m. When somebody says something messed up or like borderline or over the line, I don't want to be the one saying something, because I'm tired of saying something.
It's harder for us as people of color to do that.
Sometimes I'm like, is that messed up? Is that me? Am I overreacting? Because if I react, I'm gonna be the angry black woman, So, and to have somebody being like, no, you don't talk to her like that. You don't say that in front of me.
It's not
Oh
you
my
though,
God.
and you should never think it's you. It's people.
it's
not
hard.
No,
taking.
but at one point, it's
Yeah.
hard. You're like,
Of
everybody's
course,
having a
no.
conversation, and I'm like, I'm gonna be yet again the only person to say something. And to have Janeway like this in that position at that moment, oh my God. I wrote it like in my notes like 6 times.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, that's what everybody needs. And when I see people like, I'm gonna lie because like I post like a black square on Instagram. No, I don't care about your black square on Instagram. I need you to be in the room with me and to be like, you're crossing the line and she's tired and you're not gonna talk to her like that.
Yeah.
So I thought it was so good. And again, so well written and so important to have a person like Janeway
Yeah.
in this position. I was like, yeah, I want her in the room with me all the time.
Like that sequence brought back so much love for humanity in my soul, because like I was talking to Hawk last week about something that's super racist happened to me at a grocery store, and my kids were there too. So afterwards I had to sort of explain it to them, and for them to see someone stand up for these kids in the show, it meant so much to me. That's why I was crying earlier, because I wasn't by myself. There were people all around me, but they just watched it happen. And then I was just like, and I was in shock. I didn't know what to do. And like, it's horrible that it still happens, but to be an ally,
And
like, right.
it's not only because like they're like not entering like the academy. It's like words are important. Like the way people use words is so important. And the other thing I wanted to say, when she points out that yes, he's an augment, but he has in him most of the words of the Federation.
Yeah.
Like that's something that resonated with me so much, because again, we're saying I'm biracial, like my mother is white, but when I'm in the US and they make me like put the little like crosses in the little boxes, usually you have like white Caucasian or white European, I don't know, black, African American, and then you have like, I don't remember like how, depends, and then you have other, and I'm like, well, I usually put like 2 crosses, and they're like, oh no, you can put only 1, and I'm like,
but
can
I'm
put
not.
only 1. I'm literally like 50-50, and they're like, well, you can put African American, and I was like, but I'm not African American. I'm African.
Wow.
Africa. and they tell me, oh, okay, well, you can put other, and I'm like, why can't I put white? I'm like, my 2 options would be African American or other, and I'm like, I'm never like fully recognized. And being biracial is this: you're never fully recognized for what you are and who you want to be. And again, that's where I got angry with Strange New Worlds and like the discourse about Spock, but where Prodigy writes in a way that is so beautiful and so on point. And again, like pointing, yes, he's an augment, but he is every single one of us too. And that's not half or half. It's not this or that. It's yes and yes and yes and you and you and you and you. And come on, I don't know if they're still in the chat, but like loan your writers room.
Yeah.
The other show. Or like, I don't know if you have biracial writers in your writer room, well, like, I don't know, multiracial people, but on point.
It feels like they do.
And beautiful. Yeah, I hope. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Give a crash course to Strange New Worlds writer's room, please. I'm tired of being angry at being half Vulcan. Thank you.
Kevin in the chat goes, last year someone at work called me a baboon in front of coworkers and a client, and no one said anything. So Janeway standing up for Dahl meant everything to me. And also he wrote, when you said draft that I am tired, I just yelled preach at my TV. Mm-hmm. To which I will now say I have absolutely nothing that I could ever add to that. You two both said that absolutely beautifully. The one and only thing I will say is that is probably the best Tribunal scene since Measure of a Man. And Picard sticking up for Data. It was beautiful. It was amazing. And I'm just gonna say to you both, I am sorry that you deal with that bullshit. I really am. If I could be in the room with you, I'd be in the room with you. Obviously.
Oh, I know you're in the room. I know you react faster than I do.
I do. I'm like your den mom, Giraffe. Oh man. Wow. I feel like we should end the show on that, but we can't. We have so much more to talk about. That was wow. Let's move on to Gwyn not joining the kids as warrant officers, but heading out to Solemn to kind of be not necessarily an ambassador to the Federation, but a different voice other than Starfleet just showing up at the door unannounced. So Gwyn decides that she does want to reach out to her people with a more gentler approach. And then Gwyn and Dahl have this very heartfelt and I would say earned goodbye as Gwyn shuttled and leaves which is crazy, right? Like a home planet that she's never ever stepped foot on. Are we I know Giraffe already is. She's going to go off for another 35 minutes about Solemn. Are we excited to see it and see that story continue next season, Hawk?
Absolutely.
The Unifier, Matt. Yes, the Unifier.
Yes, Gwyn the Unifier, and that as she was dubbed in this finale, and this is going to be probably one of the most interesting aspects of season 2 coming up in that, seeing the home planet of Solemn and that, and the Vonnegut people and that before the Civil War and that, and what if, and as you pointed out, Gwyn's never been to this planet. She's never really had a chance to interact with any of the Vonnegut and that, so I'm very trepidatious in that about the storyline and that, but it's going to be interesting in that because the Vonnegut are an interesting people to begin with, and that look at the technology they kind of put into their war effort, a civil war effort. It ended with them constructing the living construct. To see what could happen to this planet, and that with a voice who's there to try and bring them together and to try and ease them into the exploration of the galaxy, and that from her experience. I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah. It's super exciting. The possibility of her going there is so incredibly cool. Also, it's 52 years in the past from what we've seen. So imagine us going back 52 years and seeing, we haven't seen what that society looks like. They might not even be ready for space
First
at
contact,
that point, right?
Yeah.
So she could just be showing up in disguise or a cloaked ship and being like, I'm one of you guys. I'm wearing bell bottoms.
I'm from the north.
Not from the north.
Yeah. So that's really cool. I think I'm gonna go off my kids. My kids really enjoyed the kiss this season, or this episode of her and Dal. It felt more earned and not more, without permission. So they were actually like, okay, we like the kiss this time. So having her do a long distance and time travel relationship is gonna be interesting and confusing.
It doesn't work.
Long distance, yeah, man.
Nope. Sure doesn't.
I'm trying to think of what else. It's just the possibilities of going back in time, or not technically going back in time, but for someone to go back in the time of their people, that's cool. I would love to go back and see early Filipino life. I think that would be super interesting for me. And I don't even know how much she's learned about her culture,
right,
from her father, let alone
he wanted her to learn about other cultures so that he could control them.
Yeah.
She probably does not know a lot. Yeah, that's a great point.
So super excited about her storyline.
MC goes, Gwyn is gonna act out Back to the Future.
That's what I worry about.
We've hot young John Noble. Come on.
I hope he comes back.
Real quick, Aaron we did see in I believe episode 10, we caught a glimpse of Solemn, what it looked like in that holodeck program. The Diviner shows Gwyn before it went to post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if their society had evolved at that point,
right?
Okay, if
Yeah,
like
good point.
earlier.
Yeah. Giraffe.
I want to see Solom.
I
said
know.
it like 15,000 times. Like, I love their costume. It's gorgeous.
So cool.
Can we speak about like that Starfleet?
I want that Starfleet uniform. Can you cosplay Gwyn, please?
So I was gonna say that. I didn't say that because I didn't want to go too much like haywire, whatever. But it's the thing. It's like I'm doing the Enterprise in dress because it's easy and it's doable and it's reproducible, and I love the fauna cut so much. But do you see the level of prosthetics that somebody would have to wear and of makeup to go anywhere close to a fauna cat? And like the clothes, you can make, sure. But they're too intricate to make on myself. And I would love to. I would want so bad. I want like one of these robes so bad. I want that uniform so bad. I'm still not over the pink boots that Essentia
You're gonna get those pink boots.
So many things. But yeah, I wonder too, because she's going to go very early, is she responsible for the technological advance that they're going to have 52 years in the future?
Does the Federation shuttle have that much? I guess it does.
They have nothing.
It does. It has
have
enough.
A lot.
Yeah. I mean, look what happened with the Enterpriseians. Yeah.
So, I'm so excited. And the other thing that we were talking about, like I think Eric pointed it out in another episode, is that the way the Varna cut, like the story was like depicted, was so like comic booky kind of.
Yeah. The visual style.
That'd be cool if they went back to that art style in season 2. I would love to see some of the episodes like that.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. I'm ridiculously excited for Solemn as well. I usually, I mean, listen, I like to cosplay, but I'm no Giraffe. I lost it seeing it looked like that was basically her fretwork covering the Starfleet shoulders, which was just such a cool touch. I want one. And I like the fact too that they put like because she's not enlisted, so she can wear kind of a uniform, but with something from her culture. So that would mean that other people could do the same thing. Yes.
I mean,
like the Bajorans have
so much.
The
like Tuvix
and all that stuff.
You can like
wearing Neelix clothing on the bridge.
Why?
Kevin asks, is Gwyn going to take the shuttle the whole way there? And I believe the answer is going to be yes, because the whole point is not to have Starfleet show up on the door. So yes, I do believe that'll be the case.
As she shows up in a Starfleet.
Well, it's a shuttle, right? You can hide a shuttle better than you could hide the Enterprise.
Hide the Enterprise underwater.
Or Voyager.
They'll do the same thing they did with the Rossi.
Boy.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm there yet in the Expanse.
No,
I
don't think you are.
I really need to get back.
Yes, you do.
I know. When you're back from France, we're going to continue watching. Promise. So the season ends with a look at the brand new commissioned, no NX tag, full on NCC, Protostar class. And when Dahl's like, is that going to be our ship? Everybody's like, oh my God, we got the Protostar back. Janeway's like, nah, I got bigger and better plans. Are we excited for? We kind of talked about it with Kevin and Dan a little bit, but are we excited for this new, going on board Voyager with flesh and blood, seasoned Admiral Janeway,
Captain Tuvok?
Yes, very much so. And that, Janeway is a part of this casting crew, and that whether she likes it or not at this point, she is there for the mainstay, and I'm glad. And we're, this is the full flesh and blood Janeway in that. So, like, how could we not be excited for this? We know we're getting Voyager, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the better we
Better.
I mean, I can't wait till we see Voyager. Like, it's gonna blow our brains. We know it's gonna come, right? Well,
you don't put an Easter egg like that at the end of the episode without it, right? Like,
but more importantly, I want to see who's gonna come and be on that ship, because I hope it's not just Voyager cast. I hope it's other cast members that we may have seen in other shows. That would be amazing. Even like, are we at the same time as Lower Decks? Lower Decks is earlier, right?
I believe Lower Deck's a little
Mariner
earlier.
Commander.
Come
Commander
on,
Mariner.
Make
Captain Brad Boimler,
yes.
USS Voyager commanding.
Maybe Jennifer
Boy,
can
USS
redeem
Boy.
herself.
USS
Boy.
Boy.
Jennifer.
Jennifer can redeem herself on Voyager too. Oh, Voyager.
The crossover we didn't know
We needed, right?
Yeah.
First Officer Dax from Haven.
I like that there's going to be multiple protostar ships. I hope we get to see a couple of them.
I feel like,
throughout the season.
again, you probably don't make that reveal without it having some play next
Yeah.
season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the new protostars have these like moving the cells. Yeah. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I have a question for the ship bros.
Yes.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yes. The protostar doesn't run on dilithium, right?
It does. It has a normal warp core, right? And it then has the proto core.
Yeah.
So
Because
when
the
it's going
question
at
was like, yeah.
so when
It
it's going at
wouldn't have
warp,
burned.
no. If it was at proto warp during the burn, it probably would not have exploded. But if it was just at
But
warp,
question,
yes.
now that it's a class of starship that have that way of like going fast,
Why
don't
did they
use
still
that
do
after the
dilithium?
burn? Yeah.
Maybe we're gonna find out next season.
Maybe it's only for
Ah.
that type of travel, right? Like that super.
Well, you have to
it has
remember,
charge, right? Every single time.
It has to charge, and you have to remember, Starfleet, even at the end of Voyager, near the end of Voyager's run, they installed a quantum slipstream drive on Voyager and could not keep it stable. Starfleet has never been able to successfully install a transwarp drive until the Protostar, which does have quantum slipstream and can go even faster than that with the quantum. So who knows? I mean, obviously we saw it this season, but who knows how stable the Protostar is? I mean, it's got to be stable enough if they actually created a class out of it, but I mean, still.
Yeah.
And it might not have.
know.
Go, it might not go as fast as the Protostar, right? They might have put some safety
Tweaked it a bit, right? Yeah,
regulations to make
regulations. I mean, it could be one of those situations where the proto drive is only used for emergency purposes, but maybe they have, using the Borg technology Voyager brought back. Maybe they did perfect quantum slipstream, which then also begs the question: why are they still using warp in the future? So yeah.
I mean, they did forget about like singularity drives too. So
Wasn't the Excelsior slipstream stable on the NX 2000? No, go back and watch Star Trek 3 and watch what happens to Excelsior.
Oh,
No,
poor Excelsior.
What were we saying? I totally derailed. Sorry.
no, just the
Excelsior.
new dynamic between Janeway and
New
I mean,
ship.
we kind of covered it already.
Yeah,
We all want it.
Shipro.
Voyager is most probably the first ship I actually really liked.
So there you go. You want it too.
Because Janeway belongs on the Voyager, and Disco has like teased us like Voyager J like a lot too, and like Voyager, come on.
Then we'll see the time ship Voyager later when the time agents come.
I think we're getting time agents next season for sure. That would play into this show perfectly. That would be dope. Yeah, I can't wait for their dynamic. I don't have much to say about that. It's awesome. I can't wait. I just want to see the dang ship. I just want it. I just want it. Like, I'm going to go back and just watch season 1 of Voyager tonight and not go to bed. That's not true. I need to sleep. My wife has COVID. I'm frozen on the screen. Can you guys still hear me?
No,
Yeah.
not.
No, I see. Right
Yeah,
here.
you're
No,
fine.
Haven's probably having internet issues. Anyway, any
The
final
protocore is identified as including an exotic matter, the lithium matrix. Okay.
So it does have
So it does have
dilithium,
dilithium. That's why
and it
doesn't
runs
work
on those
after the
crystals
burn.
that was on the asteroid in the first episode,
Yep.
I believe.
Yeah. So
Yes.
here we go.
Yep. Any final thoughts before we move on to our Easter egg hunt? We just did a lot of thoughts.
I can't believe they
Loved
made
it.
this show so good.
I
Like from when we've heard this show get announced to us watching it, and like it's incredible how good the animation and the story and everything. Like
Yeah.
hats off, man, to everyone involved with the show.
Yeah, this is textbook in how to bring the serialized story arc to a Star Trek series. Yeah.
And to like young kids. Like I never thought my kids would be like, okay, I'm coming home from school. We have to watch Star Trek now. I just assumed they'd be like, oh, our dad's going to watch it now. Let's sit and watch so we don't have to do homework. No, they want to watch it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And they gave us the floor pie.
And they gave us the floor pie. Oh, the infamous floor pie. Man. Wow. Prodigy has been on so long that Brittany was still a part of the podcast when this show started. That's how old this pod is now, guys. We need to have Brittany on. We need to have Brittany back on for Prodigy next season at some point.
Yes.
The last thing I'm going to say is something that I want to go back to from when the Protostar blew up. When I asked Cecily today, who's watched this finale just as many times as I have, she really likes this finale. When I asked her favorite part, and she fully understood the sacrifice. Every time Janeway sacrifices her, you could see her eyes get sad and she kind of hid behind her pillow a little bit. But this is coming from a kid. I asked her, she goes, after the Protostar blew up and the pretty colors that followed, that was my favorite part. Like, she loved the beauty and the sacrifice and the destruction. And I was like, kid, what are you doing to me? Like, anyway.
That's way better than my kid's answer.
What was your
what was your favorite part of the show, Kateri? Oh, when Dal and Gwyn kissed. I was like,
my
oh, come on, man.
That's the only thing I didn't want to see. I hated it, but it's okay. Whatever.
Man.
So Dan Hageman asked, how did your kids handle the hologram Janeway death? Like I said, like mine kind of hid behind her pillow a little bit, and you could see her eyes get,
Mine was shocked. Their jaws dropped, and they were just like, what happened? Yeah, it was heartbreaking to watch, but it was a good moment for them, I guess. I don't know how to explain this. Yeah.
But the fact that, the fact that she goes like the beauty in it, like the colors and stuff, I mean, that really resonates. So what you were saying, Eric, it's like, it's the colors of the show, and kids at this age, like yours is 8, mine's 7, like color's like a big part of their life right now. And I don't know about yours, but like Cecily just loves painting and drawing and
100%.
Using color. And I think that was a really cool thing for her to say. So.
You know how hard it was for them to not do this to me? I was doing it. They're like, we want to do it too. Can we put it on us? I was like, no. Can we put it on you? I was like, no. I like purple, but I don't want to look like Grimace.
Yeah. Let's get into our Easter egg hunt, guys. As always, why don't you guys hit it off with anything that's not on the list here, and then I'll go with what's left. Hawk, I saw your finger raised.
Yeah, there's not too much. It was just the hologram Janeway, recorded speech, and that reminded me of Tasha Yar's final goodbye to the crew.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, yes.
There were so many musical cues in this episode that it's too many to count. The Klingon motif was used right before...
it was like a play on it, right?
Yeah.
And right before they went back to normal. Yeah, that was a great moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm checking what I have and what you have.
I do. While you're checking real quick, I'm going to say Nami's score, without fail, every time I've listened to the shuttle leaving the Protostar, that moment, that music is, I think, probably some of the best music she wrote all season.
I think this season of music is my favorite of Star Trek. Her music.
It's this and her score for, I mean, listen, all of her scores, but her score for Strange New Worlds gives me goosebumps all the time as well.
Agreed.
Well, I was actually asking her like the difference between scoring animation and live action, and how animation needs because you don't have live people on screen,
you need to give it more yeah.
There's and how it's like more liberating. Apparently, you can go more
Kelvinverse,
all in. Yeah,
more Kelvinverse.
But yeah, it's incredible score. Like, there's so many moments that are like gorgeous in that episode. So I checked the Easter egg that you didn't have.
Okay.
There was a seatbelt stroke.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
there was.
Yeah.
Seatbelt stroke.
Yep.
The moment where they arrive under the Golden Gate Bridge, it's Voyage-Home.
Yeah, it's Voyage-Home. Yep. And
I have the same thing than you.
Okay. So, other Easter eggs. The shuttle that picks the kids up from the bay is registered NCC 74656A, aka Voyager's registry number. Another hint that we will be on board Voyager next season. Hint, hint, wink, wink. The science officer who asks Rock if she wants to be a xenobiologist is voiced and modeled after the one, the only, the amazing Dr. Erin McDonald. She is an amazing person.
I had to double take. I was like,
yeah.
Is that Erin?
Yep, it is. I've talked to her so many times about coming on the show, and we were actually supposed to have her on for Prodigy, but we never got around to planning it. We'd made a plan in Chicago, and then never happened. So next season for Prodigy, we're going to have Erin on. Jankum calls himself a miracle worker, which is a nod to Scotty.
Worker.
And then my last one is when, this is going to be so stupid, but I'm going to say it anyway. When Dahl asked Jankum if he's got the razzle dazzle, that has to be an NBA Jam reference, right? To like old SNES NBA Jam, because it's the razzle dazzle, right?
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Right.
Right.
I'm gonna have to go with
I totally forgot about that, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like the best part of NBA Jam when you get like when you're on fire and it's like
razzle dazzle.
Yeah, it's
I have
amazing.
no idea what's happening.
You should play NBA Jam.
The only good video game, basketball video game ever made.
It's true.
Let's rate this one, guys, out of 10 proto jumps. Hawk.
And this coupled with last week's episode, and we really should have done this as a
whole, right?
Right. Yep. But I had no issues at all with this finale. It was great. It was heartfelt. It made me excited for the next season to come, and it wrapped everything up just in a neat little bow. And that, but it did, as Giraffe pointed out, it didn't feel forced. Just like forced resolution to plot lines and that. This just felt natural. And heartfelt. So to the Hageman Brothers again, just congratulations. Give yourselves a pat on the back, guys.
Real quick in the chat, Michael Kwan says razzle dazzle could be a reference to the musical Chicago, which give me the old razzle dazzle. Razzle dazzle. And also Dan Hageman says razzle dazzle was actually a cut scene from episode 11. Love when that happens.
Michael Kwan also said, "We can't stop the signal." Maybe a Firefly reference?
Firefly
It's gotta be, right?
God damn, that's so good. My rating for this, if you haven't noticed, this is probably one of my favorite finales. If I could give it more than a 10, I would. I love this episode. It means the world to me, especially when I watch it with my kids. This man, more than 10. 11, 12, 100. I would give it that if I could.
It goes up to 11.
It does. It goes up to... Giraffe.
I think it's a 10, and it's a perfect last act. I'm sure that if we watch the whole 20 episode, there are like these like very clear acts through the journey of these kids. And for me, that last act like maybe starts, I don't know, in like Ghost in the Machine or Preludes, I don't know, like around there, and from there it's like step by step perfectly built to that finale that is like open enough that I want to see the next season, like I'm like invested in it, and well written that everything comes to an end. So again, kudos to the writer's room.
MC says we need to be stingers with your tens. I mean, listen,
no dice.
If you want to go back, I gave an episode of this season a 4. So I mean,
I give an 8.5. I think it's the first 10. This last 5 episodes I gave. I think.
I love this.
That being said, I'm
enterprising.
Yeah. That being said, I'm going to give this another 12 because I gave last week's a 12. That gives my score for the entire finale like 24 out of 10. I mean, it was a perfect 2-parter.
Three-parter.
Yeah, 3-parter. I mean, like Giraffe said, it's a perfect final act. Over on, I almost said Twitch. It's been a little bit. Over on YouTube, Haven gives this a Let's Proto Jump to 11. Matt Harker, 10, 10, 10s across the board. MC, 9.5. The 05 is addressed in my mailbag. Michael Kwan, I rate this 9.5 out of 950 out of 1,000 scoops of Jacob's ice cream. I like that. Tara, 9.975. We will not be stingier with our 10s, MC. Dan Hageman gives it 9.975. That might be, I think 9.975 is the the max warp drive
limit, right?
of Voyager. Dan. Haven Studios. That's not a rating. Never mind. That's it. Yeah, the first 10 episodes in HD drop in January on Blu-ray.
Yes.
That is correct. Yeah. Let's then go into our final season rating out of 10 cat boots. And we'll go in reverse this time. Giraffe.
So the whole season?
Yes, the entire season.
I've said it like over and over again. I think this is the best first season of Star Trek I've ever seen. Ever. It's flawless. I mean, there are things I didn't like, but I mean, they make sense. But it's me, you know.
Yep.
And I think it's beautiful. It's carrying all the right messages. I want kids just so they can watch Prodigy. So
that's why
I'll send you my
Yeah, right.
BGYN bill, Prodigy.
Wayner.
My
sorry.
delivery bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10. And my favorite episode, I'm gonna say, we can like give our favorite is All
let's
Wars
do
the
that.
Stage.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
All Wars the Stage. And Time and Mark, very close, both together, like for different reasons.
Oh damn! Now I have to think of a best episode. They're so good.
I'm adding stuff.
Let's see. What can I give this season that meant so much to me and my kids, if not a 10? Again, this got my kids into Star Trek, which is incredible. And it got them into science and astronomy. And they wanted to stay up and watch the SpaceX rocket launch. And what was it, like last December? Like during the first half? I was like, this is like 6 a.m. They're like, I don't care. I was like, that's amazing. We can watch the whole thing. And
Little nerds.
I know.
Little nerds.
And they still love their Barbies and all their stuff like that, but they also love science. And I love that this is helping them become more well-rounded little people. And the spark I see in their eyes when they see something on screen that really, you know, entices them to want to learn more. Like I can't give that a number, right? This means so much to me, this show. And yeah. So I it's perfect. This is my perfect season. And I love it so much.
Yeah. Hawk.
I'm not going to be stingy with my 10s on this. Like,
Never.
As far as the season of television and that, and what it set out to accomplish in that. Star Trek for kids and that, you know, preteens, and you know, and even further in that, you know, which was a monumental task. You know, let's face it. You know, bringing the franchise to children in this way, while at the same time keeping enough of like, you know, of its spirit interested to, you know, for the like, you know, the old guys like me not to come back and watch it, you know, week after week and being happy and excited for the next episode and that. How can you not give this a 10 out of 10?
Right?
You know, best first season of Trek ever.
Yeah,
I like how we started the first episode being like, I know it's a show for kids. I know how it's a show for kids, and then we just like
we don't say that at all anymore,
okay,
right?
so
Yeah.
You're
episode.
writing it for me, damn it.
Despite what I said near the beginning of the season with that 4 that I gave that episode, and I still stand by those comments, that episode still helped set up where we got today. And I've said this about other shows as well before I give it 10, because I'm going to give it 10. You can have a perfect season and still have stumbles. I truly believe that. And this is a perfect season. This is a 10 out of 10. Cecily, I don't think has ever watched the same episode of Star Trek more than she watched the finale with me. She watched it when we got the screeners. She watched it with me the other day when I was writing the outline and writing the questions for the interview. And she was going to do something like really fun with all her new Christmas toys. And I yelled because I was going to write the outline tonight. I go, this afternoon, I go, Cecily, I'm going to watch the Prodigy finale again. And she came running onto the couch, grabbed her Squishmallow, and it was awesome.
They need a Murph Squishmallow.
I have a Squishmallow that actually looks like Murph, but it's not Murph. It's a 10. It's beautiful. I love that my kids want to watch Star Trek because of Prodigy. Yeah.
My kid's favorite episode is Mind Walk, though, when they switch bodies.
Yep.
Mindwalk. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't
And my
like
favorite
Supernova,
episode was
that's why.
Supernova Part 1. That was, like I said, that is a Hall of Fame episode of Star Trek last week.
Mine's all
People
Worlds
are
of
talking
Stage.
about Kobayashi in the
Also a
Oh, yeah.
fantastic
That is a good
episode.
episode. Damn.
Over on YouTube, where, oh my God, the chat is hopping. Jesus. Where are we? Holes 10 Wiener, but I mistyped and almost said 29. Maybe I'll stick with that. 29. Tara, whole season 9.5. Dan Hageman, 10 out of 10 cap boots. Subspace Shatter, 8.5. I enjoyed the penultimate episode more. Same. But still enjoyed this one too. Whole season from MC gets a 10 from me. Amazing first season, not at all what I was expecting. Digital Sean, yeah, this whole season is a 10. Funnest tier, Joe, yes, 10 out of 10 cap boots. And see, I'm stingy with my 10, so they mean more. Lies, that's not true.
Yeah.
Subspace Shatter, 9. Oh, they already rated it. They gave it a 10. You can't go back. Oh, no, 8.5. No, they upgraded to a 9. I like it. Okay. Whew. Breathing. That was a lot. We're going on 2 hours. And it's 3 a.m. for Giraffe. Let's get it.
Michael
Go ahead.
Kwan has one.
Ago.
as well.
It is our last episode of 2022. That's right.
Michael Kwan said 9.5 out of 10 overall.
Kevin Richardson
Kevin
says 11.
Richardson,
11.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's get to our final subspace to pull and mailbag of 2022.
Hailing frequencies are open.
And we asked Trek Twitter what they thought of the Prodigy season finale, Supernova Part 2. And this is what they had. Giraffe's raising her hand. Hit it.
I've
for
not
it.
read it for so long. So Twitter, what did they think? What did they have to say about the finale of Prodigy season 1? 64.4% said go fast. 11.1% said razzle dazzle.
I regret not doing Chicago now and putting like give me the old razzle dazzle. I don't think I had enough characters, but still.
15.6% said needed more cat boots. And 8.9% said, really? More time travel? I'm surprised by these numbers.
In
Little
what way?
bit. The 15%.
The 15 is surprising.
Yeah. But I mean, it's still overwhelmingly
It's because
topsies.
it's because the Cation didn't come back. The little one from the from the pilot.
True.
I
Where's
mean,
the babycation?
where's the babycation? Oh yeah, Dan. Where's the babycation? Dan and Kevin, where's the babycation? We want to know. It's also
Part of
because
the
there were
crew
no
of Voyager.
yeah, right. Giraffe read the poll, so we'll keep going in
Backwards?
reverse.
Backward.
We'll go. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll keep going backwards. Eric, if you could take Matt's mailbag, please.
mhark957 wrote, wow, and more wow. While the ending to the LC crisis was simplistic, I think they handled the transition to next season well. And can we talk about Gwen's uniform? Yes, we can. I'd love
Yes,
to
we
see
can.
someone cosplay it. Yes.
Yes.
I got
Hawk with
Look at
wieners.
me.
I got
Yep.
gold PLA. I can print it out.
Ooh.
Ooh, collaboration.
Wayner wrote, I was right. I predicted that next season would be the search for Chakotay, and we're getting it. I can't believe how much they squeezed into 24 minutes. We had a space battle, courtroom drama. The crew gets into Starfleet, except for Gwyn. And now they're planning their next mission. I thought the Diviner might have been what prevented Gwyn from getting into Starfleet. This was so much better. I'm thinking that might be the subplot of season 2, Gwyn trying to save her people. Now I can't wait to rewatch all 20 episodes without a year-long break.
Gwen might not be in Starfleet, but she's like an emissary for the Federation. I think that's even better.
Like emissary,
Yes.
ambassador. Yeah.
And they call her the Unifier. And I'm like,
Unifier.
oh, where's Spock?
That's
Spock is
obviously going to have a lot more to play than
Ethan
just them.
Peck.
Yeah, Ethan.
Can we just say that I am the diviner because how much thing I called out in advance
true.
on that finale? I'm
It's
impressing
true. It's
myself.
true.
I'm just gonna say that.
I'll take Haven's. My emotions are fried. I feel like Data in Star Trek Generations. I can't stop tearing up. I'm so proud of our crew. I know we're getting, I believe, 40 episodes total for Prodigy that are confirmed, but I would be so happy to have Star Trek Janeway as the next series. Oh, me too. Me
To
too.
both.
Want it.
To both.
Yeah, to both, indeed. Draft, can you take Michael Kwan's, please?
Or wait, Draft.
Michael-
Do you want MC and I'll do
Yes.
Michael Kwan?
Yes.
There we
Okay,
go.
let's do this.
You too. So cute. I love it.
Michael Kwan wrote, "That was a fitting season finale. I am hard pressed to think of a better one in Trek. Even if the hint of teen romance at the conclusion is going to make Giraffe livid."
I told Nami that there was a mailbag that threw shade at you, and she cracked up.
The music was great at enhancing the emotional beats, and the hint of Klingon during the Bird of Prey flight, perfect. The show ended with an earned setup for the future, and I'm looking forward to it. Callback. Hold on to your butts, grab handles, Easter egg. We can't stop the signal. Nice.
MC wrote, while I enjoyed this, I really think they should have done it as an hour-long finale with part 1. We all agree, yes. The second half was all resolution and didn't place well for me as a standalone without part 1. I think the outcome was really the only thing that could have happened and fits well with the season. I'm disappointed that Gwyn's finale scene was focused on her romance with Dal rather than a goodbye with the whole crew, as the camaraderie between the crew is the heart of the show. All in all, a great end to a great season. Bring on season 2, the search for Chakotay.
Nice. Hawk with rude parakeets, please.
Rude Parakeet wrote, "That was a spectacular finale. I felt as though the issue with the protostar and living construct was wrapped up a bit quickly, but I am satisfied with how it was done. Hollow Janeway's sacrifice was heartbreaking but necessary. Had everyone survived, stopping the living construct would have had no cost, and we'd be wondering why they didn't just do it sooner. The Golden Gate Bridge / Starfleet HQ scenes gave me a major The Voyage Home vibes, which was wonderful. And wow, I know Prodigy's animation is always stunning, but this episode was so full of eye candy, I think I got diabetes. Diabetes in the eyes.
Oh my God. I will close it out with Chris's. The music was phenomenal in this. Yes, big claps for Nami. The animation was absolutely stunning. How much do we think Kate Mulgrew enjoyed recording another Captain motivational speech? I mean, come on. Of course she did. I really do wish this had been combined with the last to keep the momentum up, though. Did I mention the music was phenomenal? You did indeed, and you can keep saying it for sure. That's it. It's our last show of 2022. I want to take a moment and say thank you to everyone in our collective, patron, non-patron, just weekly YouTube viewer. It doesn't matter. You are all part of our collective. Thank you for making 2022 the most successful year of this podcast. We can't do it without you. We hope you have an amazing, amazing new year. We will be back with our first episode of 2023 next Thursday. And guess what? We're going back to Strange New Worlds. We are going to do our wants and not wants, and that is going to be a very listener-heavy episode. We want your opinions, your takes, what you want and don't want. We're going to mix it in with our takes. It's going to be a really fun episode. And guys, my hosts, my crew, my friends, a happy new year to you as well. Can't wait to start it off. For Giraffe, for Hawk, for Eric, I am Julian. I will say live long and prosper. Happy New Year, Majram. Good night.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.